snowstorm and a day off from work for my birthday, so that is awesome. So if you are watching this on the day it comes out, it's my birthday! I am officially getting old, so we are not going to talk about how old I am. I'm 38, it really doesn't matter to me that much. But I figured to celebrate, I would do the birthday book tag. I will list all the information about like who created it, who I saw do it, in video form and all of that good stuff down in the description below. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out down there, as well as I will list all of the prompts that I'm going to talk about, answer. They're not really questions, but whatever. All the information will be down below. So let's just make this a quick little video because I got stuff to do, you have stuff to do, I'm already rambling, let's get to it. So the first one is Birthday Cake, which is a book with a plot that seems really cliche, but you still adore it anyway. And for me, it's not going to be like a specific book. It's actually kind of a cop-out answer, but I love cozy mysteries. They are all exactly the same, but no matter how many I read, I never get sick of them. They are always like small town, someone gets murdered, the main character who works in a bakery or a library or something of the sort helps solve the mystery. They're always a suspect at some point, and it always works out fine. So cozy mysteries are the most cliche books I could think of, but I absolutely adore them. I read a ton of them, especially in like October. Instead of getting into like the scary spooky books, I always read just a ton of cozy mysteries. No matter how many I read, they all blur together, but I still enjoy every single one of them. Okay, so prompt 2 is Party Guests, and it's your most anticipated release for this year. And okay, so the fantasy lover in me definitely thinks it should be the 5th Stormlight Archive book, which is Wind and Truth, Winds of Truth, something like that by Brandon Sanderson. But I'm not caught up in Stormlight. I read like half of Rhythm of War and then I didn't finish it, so I have to finish that and probably read like a really good like synopsis of the other books to remember exactly what's going on before I even read Rhythm of War. So if I'm caught up at the time, that would be my answer for this. But instead, I'm going to say Bloodguard by Cece Robson. This book I know nothing about. It was something that Amazon pushed to me, and I'm sure it pushed it to a lot of you or like a lot of people in general, but it came around the same time as like Iron Flame, I think. They just like pushed it because it's such a beautiful edition. I will show a picture of it here. It doesn't come out until I think June, so I don't obviously have it. It's an anticipated release, but it's just a really pretty book, and I don't know if it's going to be good. I've never read anything by this author before, but I'm just really excited because it's so pretty. So one of those two. One of them makes a little bit more sense than the other, but those two are probably my most anticipated releases for this year. The next one is Birthday Presents, and it's a book that surprised you with how much you enjoyed it. And for this one, I am gonna say Beartown. I read that at the end of last year, and I put it off for so long because it had a ton of hype and like everybody loved it. Well, not everybody loved it. It's actually like you either love it or you hate it, but like so many people loved it. And I kind of went into it like, okay, but it's a book about hockey, but like everybody loves it so much, like maybe I should read it. And I absolutely loved it. I'm pretty sure it was like my favorite book of last year. And it's super character driven, and I am not a character driven reader at all. I prefer like a pretty fast paced plot to keep me interested in a book. But that book being 100% character driven, it was just amazing. Like Frederick Bachman did such a good job of making you kind of empathize with characters even when you knew that they were wrong, and like being inside the characters' heads and reading from their perspective, like whatever side of the conflict they were on, you could still see their point of view, and like not in that like weird way that people, ooh, an ambulance just drove by, that people kind of like think about politics like, oh, you can see the other side. It's like you legitimately were sympathizing with these people no matter where they fell on the spectrum. So I just thought it was an amazing book. I absolutely loved it. I have recommended it to anyone that I thought might be even remotely interested in it in my real life. And yeah, I just loved it. I really can't believe how much I loved that book. The next one is Happy Birthday Song, and it's a book that definitely deserved all the hype. Um, and again, this is really boring, but I'm going to plug in Beartown. I know there's only like 7 of these. I should not be repeating books, but I just really loved that book. And like I said, it got so much hype when it first came out, and I didn't get it because I was like, I'm not into hockey. I don't want to read that. But it's definitely worth all the hype. It is so worth the hype. And if you like character driven stories, and again, even if you don't, like, definitely give it a try. As long as you're not, um, like, definitely check trigger warnings and stuff if you haven't read it, and if you don't know anything about it, but read it. This is me telling you, it's definitely worth the hype. And if you haven't read it, you should read it. The next one is Happy Music, and it's a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. And for this, I just kind of put a blanket statement of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I finished it last month, and it's full of tons of memorable quotes. Did I pull any out specifically for this video? Absolutely not. That would have required a lot more forethought than I put into this. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, obviously. I love it. It has tons of quotes that people use all the time, and that's it. I loved it. And it's super quotable. The next one is Getting Older. A book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate more if you read it as a mature reader. And for me, for this one, I put Around the World in 80 Days. I didn't read this. This is a book that my father read to my brother and I when we were really young. I probably didn't understand 90% of what was going on. Especially, I had a conversation with my brother not too long ago about how he read a little bit of it recently, and he was just kind of like, this is not what I thought it was when we were kids and dad read it to us. So I feel like I definitely need to reread that book, and I'm sure I would appreciate it much more as a mature reader. So actually, maybe that should try to make it onto the TBR sooner rather than later. And the last one is Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. And for this one, I'm also going to use a little bit of just kind of like, not a cop out, but it's not very deep. It's not deep. And for me, this one is the ACOTAR series. I remember reading this book and just getting so fully immersed in the story. Like, it was one of those series that like I just didn't want to put down. It did take me a long time to actually read the last one, so I'm mostly talking about book 1 and 2, but books 1 and 2 were like, no matter what kind of day I was having, I remember as soon as I got home, I would just open the book and just be lost in the world until I was done with the books. So that's my answer for that. Again, not super deep, but I really enjoyed them. They made me forget everything that was going on in my life while I was reading them, and I just had a really good time with them. Okay, so that is it for the birthday book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your answers would be to these questions, or if you make videos and you decide to do this video for your birthday, try to remember way off in the distance whenever your birthday is and you do it to let me know so that I can watch yours. And yeah, here's to another year. Oh, 40 is getting real close, guys. 40 is getting close. But it's not here yet, so here's to a good year. Still in my 30s, full of books, full of awesome reading and all the good things. And that's gonna do it for today. I am once again rambling. I will see you in the next one. Bye.